Hello all and welcome to another Two Limes and a Lemon podcast. Today we're going to delve into another entry on our Hear Me Out series where one of us chooses a movie that was either critically panned or did terribly financially. It's also a film that will hold a special place in our hearts and we try and defend it to our co-hosts. Today's entry is a character-driven road trip movie. It contains songs, a dance number, heart, and more importantly, a cute little dog. Today we'll be looking at 1996's movie, Michael.
Are we having theme music? Like, how do we... Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's gonna do us some, like, a jingle, I think.
Dave.
Nat.
Danielle.
Two Limes
and a Lemon. So welcome to today's podcast. My name's Nat, and as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Dave and Danielle. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
So before we get into today's movie, we'll take a look at what we've been consuming this week. Now, it doesn't have to be something you've eaten, but rather media you've been consuming, such as books, TV, games, or of course, more movies. Danielle, why don't you go first?
Mine is a little bit unconventional this week, but the Oscars were announced on Thursday, and so I have been consumed by my goal to watch all of the Oscar films before the ceremonies. For the last 4 years or so, I've set a goal to try and watch all of the Oscar films before the ceremony. My friend Casey at work, shout out Casey, because she listens sometimes, got me into doing this. I was sort of non-committal at first and, just watched a few more movies than I probably would have. And then in the last 2 years, I've really committed to it. And as a slightly anxious person, I love a list. I love checking off a list. I love having plans on a list. And this just, love it. So last night I printed out my Oscar ballot. I checked off everything I've already seen. And then I noted where I can find all the movies right now. And so I've got sort of a plan set in motion to start watching. I watched Frankenstein last night on Netflix to try and get the ball rolling.
And obviously we've already done Sinners.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sinners was the most nominated this year. It got 16 nominations. So that really...
Yeah, which is mad.
Checked off a lot of boxes. But the fun thing of this whole this whole challenge for myself is like making myself see the international films and the documentary films. And then my favorite is seeing all the shorts. And so there's a theater in town that will show they have like a program that shows all of the shorts. And so I'll get tickets to all three of those and go see that one day. Yeah, I was able to achieve it last year, and that was through like getting tickets to an online screening of something, and then there was one movie that wasn't screening physically almost anywhere in the US, but had a screening in Pittsburgh that I was able to physically go to. So I was able to achieve it for the first time last year. I'm hopeful this year, but also I don't know if I want to see like 3 hours of Avatar.
God, yeah. Are they nominated?
Yeah, they got
for what?
Like effects and
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Something else, makeup, costume design.
They're not wearing costumes, it's all CG.
Maybe like the human people? Do they wear?
Oh yeah, probably.
I watched the first Avatar. Haven't watched them since, so I don't know if they're like
a scientist suit.
Yeah, like some
amazing.
feathers or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
I don't know if this should be put in or not. But I watched Starter for 10. If you've heard of that film.
Oh yeah.
The film stars James McAvoy as a university student.
Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah, who wins a place on a university challenge quiz team. I watched it because Dan, who was on the podcast before, he looks a bit like James McAvoy, and I was like, I miss my friend Dan. So I was like, I'm going to watch this film. It was on BBC iPlayer. I could have just rung him up and said, hello, how are you getting on? But I was just like, Narnia. No, because Narnia's not on there. And I was like, I think I watched this film before. It was an okay film. It felt like this character was a bit like, oh, things don't go right for me sometimes. But I was like, but you've got two women that are after you. Well, he's got women problems, but he bounces from one to the other very quickly. So I was like, and I thought the film was kind of about university challenge, but it's not really about that. It's about this guy just going to university and they shoehorned this thing in about him really wanting to be on that University Challenge show. And it kind of, he gets in it straight away. And then it's just sort of like a lot of stuff about friends and relationships. And then finally the University Challenge bit. And I was like, okay. But Benedict Cumberbatch is in it and he was really good. He plays like this sort of strange guy who just loves quizzes. And he's always lost the University Challenge against another team. It's like I would rather have a story about him rather than James McAvoy's character. What about you now?
Well, this week I've absolutely blasted through the series Sanditon on Netflix, and I have loved every minute. I have blitzed through all 8 episodes. It's kind of like a tamer version of Black Sails, if you've seen that.
Oh, is this the pirate thing that you've been going mad about?
Yeah, and it's like a better version of Pirates of the Caribbean. Basically, it's apparently like a remake of a 70s show, but it's about a pirate named Sanditon who has this amazing theme tune that whenever he does something like going in a battle or just looking epic, it plays this like Sanditon theme tune, but it's like so catchy. You've got like the consul's daughter, and she's obviously got like 2 men she's got to pick from, which is the pirate or a pirate hunter, which is Captain Brooke, and he's played by from Gossip Girl, the Chuck Bass character of Ed Westwick. It's got John Hannah in it from like The Mummy. It's just really good. Like the CGI isn't great, but it doesn't matter because the story's really good.
Is it new? Is it like 2025?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So there could be more episodes.
But yeah, I'm hoping it gets renewed, but you never know with Netflix because they always like cancel the really good stuff and keep the crap. But
well, that's the reason I ask, because sometimes like find one of those older shows that you get really into and you're like, oh, this is like 7-10 years old and they're never going to make a second season of it.
Yeah.
Such a bummer.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. And now I just feel a bit lost. I really don't know what to start now because I feel like I was enjoying it so much that I was like, I don't want to like try and pace it because I might as well just go with the flow of enjoying it. But now I'm like, oh, I wish it was longer.
Go back and play that pirate game on PlayStation.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sea of Thieves. So anyway, we'll now go on to our main event with Michael. Not to be confused with the Michael Jackson movie of the same name. Now, I couldn't tell you when I first saw this movie. I know it was on TV and I was young, and I know I watched it a load of times after that, and then probably never watched it again for like 20 years. But it is one that I've always remembered liking, even though not much happens in the way of plot. I also know whenever I spoke about it outside of my own family, no one has ever heard of it, so I assumed it wasn't popular. To give a brief plot of the movie, for anyone who hasn't seen it, we follow 2 tabloid reporters played by William Hurt and Robert Pastorelli, who travel across America to do a report on an apparent angel that's living with an old woman. With them, they bring a supposed angel expert played by Andie MacDowell and the newspaper's famous mascot dog Sparky, who's owned by one of the reporters. They expect to find a hoax, but when they get there, you can imagine their surprise when it turns out that the claim is true and he is a real-life angel.
He's not an angel, he's an archangel.
Archangel. But he's not your typical halo-toting, law-abiding man, but rather a womanizing, chain-smoking drinker played by John Travolta. When the old lady meets her maker, Michael agrees to leave with the group and go back to Chicago for their report, but only if they drive back across America, stopping at some weird and wonderful landmarks along the way. We soon realise that Michael's time is also waning, so do the group go for the story or help a dying angel or archangel in his last days? So, first question, as we do a lot with these ones, is have you seen Michael before?
I have not seen this film before. No idea what I had to expect. I think it felt like, I don't know, it felt like a music video because there was a lot of songs just playing over stuff, especially the start. I thought, yeah, it's lots of just like montage. It was the longest montage movie I've ever seen, but especially the start. It was like, here's some trains, here's this. It's like, oh, we're going to play the entire song. We're not going to cut it down for cinema's sake. We're going to play the entire thing. And I was like, a bit of Randy Newman. I like that. But yeah, I think, yeah, I've not seen it before. So this was my first viewing of it.
Okay. And how about you, Danielle?
I probably saw it about the time it came out. I definitely didn't see it in the theater, but I know that my Aunt Carol was like a big fan of John Travolta in this era. She had loved him from Grease, and then like the resurgence of Travolta in the 90s. Like, definitely I could tell, like, she was, like, a little hot for him. And that's why she wanted to see but he was, like, all over in all of these, like, gentle like comedies for middle-aged women kind of thing. Like not
Yeah.
much happens, but you know, he looks beefy or what, I don't know. I wondered in going back to watch this, I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit older now. And I'm like I'm starting to be the demographic of a Nora Ephron film. I wonder if I'm going to be looking at, you know, Michael in this and with his wings and his code and his dumb little dance, and if I'm going to be like, oh, Michael. But no.
It's not about John Travolta. It's all about William Hurt.
Is that the guy with the like receding hair?
Yep. I don't know what it is about him in this movie.
With his like the shirtless scene. I was like, ooh, okay.
But I
That's
feel like
brave.
he's got the charisma that Michael's lacking in this movie.
Yeah. I wrote a note that this made me really want to watch Broadcast News again because he's the lead in
Okay.
that. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so, no.
You should put that on your list, especially if you really like William Hurt. He's the comedic lead of it, and
Yeah.
he's also involved in he's a journalist in that as well.
Oh, typecast much.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that one might have come before this, so maybe he got Michael based on that. But to sum up, I don't remember having I didn't remember anything about it whenever we set to watch it again. The only thing I remembered was that dancing scene, but that was probably from the trailers.
Yeah.
So I very much tried to go into this open-minded.
Do you generally like road trip movies?
Usually,
Yeah.
I think usually
Yeah.
like the actual film Road Trip is. I normally like them. Most of the back in my uni days, I used to write short films and make them and stuff. Most of the like longer films I used to make were about kind of road trippy. It's about getting from one point to
Yeah.
another point. I guess Lord of the Rings is a bit of a road trip film.
Yeah, Road Trip is sort of the modern-day equivalent of an adventure journey film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like them, but I think this one it didn't sit with me, unfortunately. I felt it didn't help that I was a bit tired and I did fall asleep midway.
Yeah,
And I
you did
missed
message
out
and be
on
like,
the,
I've woken up. Yeah.
I woken up and then I remember finishing it, and then because I watched it on YouTube, and then I saw another clip and it was something about like him fighting an ox. I was like, I don't remember that happening. And I had to sort of rewatch little bits of it. I was like, is that a scene? That should have woke me up. Yeah, so I didn't really know what the story was or what was the purpose other than getting him to Chicago. But I didn't know he was like his wings were falling off and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
That's
Okay.
weird.
So you didn't know that he was,
Running out of time or
It
anything.
was like his last. He was able to come to Earth so many times, and this was like his 26th visit to Earth. So
Yeah.
Very arbitrary number of
Yeah.
that they can't go back.
Why was he there? What was his
He was
reasoning?
there for the old lady, right? This time round.
Yeah.
Because he did the thing with the bank.
Yeah, because in the montage in the beginning, we see the bank.
Explode, yeah.
They go into the bank, they come out, and then the bank like collapses. I have to say, as the one of the group who was raised with religious education, and I probably should have gone back and looked at Rules of Angels. I don't know if this 26th angel thing is a thing. I definitely know I've never heard angels smell like cookies and make women,
Dance.
hot or horny. That wasn't in my Bible class.
When you were going in, did you could you foresee what the outcome of the movie was going to be, or was you surprised by anything?
I wasn't surprised by the overall ending. I figured that it was going to be more about the humans than Michael at the end of the day. I was surprised that the dog got hit by a car.
I know Dave woke up for that one because he
Yeah.
sent us a gif of a truck barreling along down the road.
I yelled out loud. I was like, "Fuck off!"
Poor dog.
When I first watched it, obviously being young, I was it was very reminiscent of is it Binks from Hocus Pocus when he gets hit by the bus,
Zachary Binks,
and then they bring him back to life. I was like, oh, it's kind of like that. But the way that the guy is holding Sparky the dog in his arms, I like that.
Yeah, the dog puppet.
It's so sad. Yeah, but it was really good, how they did it.
The dog puppet. It's mad.
But it wasn't even what's Frank is his name, William Hurt's character. He's not like, "Please, Michael, bring back Sparky to life." He's like, bring him back.
It's like, you bring this goddamn dog back to life right now.
Yeah, he's like yelling at him. It's so strange to me.
I don't care if it's going to kill you. You bring this dog back.
How guilty, her name's Dorothy Winters in this, but Andy McDowell must have felt for, like, calling the dog, being like, "Hi, Sparky!" And then he, like, runs across the road and gets here.
If nothing else, it proves that dog needed a trainer. Like, a properly trained dog wouldn't have run straight across the road.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dorothy and her being a dog trainer, that whole subplot I didn't quite get. Like, she's definitely, like, in for an interview with the editor
Bob
of this paper. Yeah, which we will get to in a moment, because he is a character in this, to say the least. But so she's presumably just at her interview, and then they come in and they're like, "There's an angel." And they're like, "Great, she's an angel expert." And they weren't like, "Wait, why did you have an angel expert?"
Never even thought of that. I just accepted it.
But that threw me off. That's why I asked the question in our group.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, is this like a world where angels exist and people like are trying to find different angels around the world or something? I'm so confused.
I was like, no, they're like a tabloid newspaper where they look at X-Files.
Getting back to my aunt a little bit, and probably another reason why she loved this is I don't know in modern Catholicism if it's really a thing, but I know, like, of my mom and my aunt's generation, they very much believed in, like, guardian angels. And I don't know if it was just sort of a way to reconcile your loved ones who had gone away, that they were still with you, looking after you. I feel like of my mom's generation, there were a lot of people that would, say prayers through angels and kind of did believe that there were angels on Earth. And so I can kind of see it from a tabloid perspective where that kind of thing would be, people really seeing angels in real life would be a thing.
So yeah, Dorothy's character is that she is actually a dog trainer, which we see because she, like us as the audience, know that she's not an angel expert, because when she's first introduced, she's saying goodbye to like a load of dogs.
I thought she was just a dog walker. I didn't. That didn't cue me off.
Oh, did it not? But I suppose I already knew what the punchline was, so maybe that's why when I watched it, I was like, obviously.
I think I was too drained from the Randy Newman opening to like be interested in this film anymore.
I mean, I realized listening to that song that I am not the audience for Randy Newman.
Oh, me
like, I think he writes good music, but then I'm like, why is it a thing of him singing? It just sounds like a guy drunk at a bar, kind of.
So anyway, Dorothy goes along with them because she has been tasked to become the trainer for Sparky, and then they can get rid of the other reporter, because really the only reason that they're keeping him there is because he owns the dog that's become like this mascot of the newspaper that they're working for.
Yeah, which they do shorthand to show us that by showing a wall of pictures with Sparky with like important figures from the day. Pope John Paul, Princess Diana holding Sparky. And I had to rewind it because I saw pictures of like the Pope and Diana, etc. And then they made the comment about him like only keeping his job because of the dog, and I was like, wait, what? And I had to rewind it. Oh, there's the dog thrown in, photoshopped into all those pictures. Can we touch on Bob Hoskins?
Of course, yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed him. Bob Hoskins plays a character named Vartan Melt. Or Malt. He is the head of this National Enquirer style tabloid. He's having fun on this set. Like he probably had like 2 days of work where he like shouts silly things at them, and then the dog attacks him a little bit at the end.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely isn't like obviously like a main character of the piece, but he is like such an influence, I suppose, to the whole thing. Like, you do remember his part quite well.
Just the choice that they named him Vartan Malt.
I didn't know the name was Vartan. It sounds like he's an alien.
Yes!
I am Vartan.
When I start watching, I always look up on IMDb all the names just so I can my notes and stuff. And I was like, oh, that was a interesting choice for a name that they never really say his first name.
I mean, when they leave Chicago, they obviously fly out to wherever Michael is, which I couldn't actually find where he was meant to be. Did you catch that, Danielle?
No, it's somewhere, because they go through, I think, Minnesota to get back to him. So I think it's somewhere like Midwest.
Yeah. It's very like sandy, deserty sort of climate.
That part of the country is also like known for those sort of roadside attractions.
Yeah.
So like later once they're on the road trip, and that's like a part of it that I thought was quite fun, was the idea that he wanted to see all of these monuments of,
It's like a big ball of yarn.
No, it's a twine. It's a twine ball.
Sorry.
The reason I don't know if it's the same twine ball, but Weird Al had a song called the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. And so that's how.
There was also like a big frying pan, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't remember any of this. I just remember them fighting in a bar.
Well, I feel like we can't even get you to give a review score at the end because you've not seen half the movie.
This is what I remember. I remember them going to the house with the lady and she died, and then they go, "Let's go together." And then I woke up to them fighting in a bar.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens between that.
Did it? Oh.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened.
Then they go to jail, and it's really weird how he has to apologise to her. Like, he's like, "You need to apologise to her." That's Michael's character.
Yeah, he says to William Hurt. I think he says, like, when I tell you, you have to apologise. But he says this really early on in the film, isn't it?
Two things that he says before they get on the road trip. You're probably right about what he says to Frank, and then to Andie MacDowell's character, he tells her she has to sing at some point, maybe?
Yeah, that's right. Because at one point they're singing in the car and she starts to sing and he's like, "Not you, not now."
Yeah.
And it's like later on he then tells her to sing in the bar.
My big question for this film is, why are these two... Because I thought it was going to be revealed that like their new kid was going to be like the new son of God or something. Because it was like you have...
Their
kid that they might have or something, or like, because these two have to get together kind of thing. That's Michael's job. It feels like he's trying to set them up for a bigger purpose. Like there's the apocalypse coming.
I thought he was just trying to bring them happiness.
I thought he was like, this is my new quest.
Yeah.
There's going to be like hell's going to open
They're
up on
both
Earth.
flawed.
And
obviously Dorothy has had a load of partners and divorces and she's unhappy and she writes all these like sad little Western songs. Frank Quinlan, he is like, I suppose just like had enough of the world sort of thing. He's very like a cynic.
He actually was a journalist and then got fired from a job, and this is sort of where he's landed, which is not very respectable journalism
maybe because I
anymore.
watched Noah, I expect a biblical proportion of reaction from like something from God.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
I have a big question here. Like when they got arrested and got put into jail, I would imagine that the police would have patted him down to be like, "Have you got any weapons?" But they didn't think, "Wow, he's got wings."
Yeah, but that big coat though.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, "Yeah, that seems legit. We'll just let him go." Like,
it was quite quick for the judge to go like to get to that court case.
oh yeah, next day delivery,
court case,
basically.
yeah.
What was the point of Huey beyond having the dog? Like, I felt like there was, like, we kind of got some character.
There was no point to Huey. Really, it was just that they wanted a picture with the dog and Michael because it was coming up to Christmas time, and they were like, "Oh, it would be a good Christmas scene."
So, why is this I don't know if you've said this already, but did you tell us why?
Yeah, I'm curious about this as well.
Yeah, why this film? Because I've never heard you talk about this film. These, like, 27 years I've known you.
It's true. I suppose it doesn't really come up in conversation much. Like, I know that not a lot happens in this movie. Like I said that in my intro. It is just I like very much like what I said about Bone Tomahawk, I suppose. I like the dynamics of the characters. I like that it's not a happy ending. I think I've realised that a lot when I've been watching these movies. I don't like it to be like tied up with a little bow at the end. Like obviously we haven't got to that part yet, what we've been talking about, but Michael doesn't make it back to the office so they can do their story. He obviously dies pretty close to it, but instead they take him to see, is it the Sears Tower? Mm-hmm. That's like the tallest building.
He's resigned to his fate, much like the Cyclops in Krull. Like, he knows what is going to happen to him.
I think the sadness comes from the fact that the others have to resign themselves to the fact of it, and instead of it all being about the story, which was the original drive for them going there, they completely changed their focus to be like, well, how can we make his last moments on Earth is best for him rather than what's best for them? Like, I suppose that's the moral, like thinking of other people.
For him, I felt like it was a melancholic happy ending because, in his like last moments, he only has like so much energy before he's gonna like go back to heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
And William Hurt sees the Sears Tower and then starts like reading off the facts of how tall it is and the, whatever about it. And it makes him happy because he just wanted to see all of these, to him, very interesting sights. Yeah.
Like man-made marvels. Yeah, and I think that scene really stuck with me, like even watching it this time. Like that's, to me, I love that scene where even though it's like him dying and then he turns into a load of feathers, like, I don't know, there's just something quite homely and quite simple but effective about it.
See, mine was the opposite response. Mine was like, if I was Michael and I had these three people talking to me as I'm dying, I'd be so like, this is the worst death ever. Ugh. Bring me someone else.
I thought it was a great death for that character because he knows he's done what he set out to do.
But I would want it with other people.
Oh, these types so bad.
of people. Like, no, I don't. I'm not interested.
I disagree with Natalie a little bit of how like invested I was in these characters, but I didn't think they were the worst people. Like,
well, they're not the worst, but I was just like, I don't know. I felt like I was like, that guy across the street, bring him over. Like, he might be a bit more.
I think I liked how, like, I suppose reserved each of the characters was as well. They're not, like, in your face, like, stereotypes, I suppose. Like, they're just normal people. You wouldn't say that one was, like, completely comedic or one of them was, like, I don't know, the sexy one or whatever. They're just, like, average Joes.
Average Joes. It's just because for an angel to then disappear and go, I was like, these average Joes.
I think they kind of made... Like it's very much Michael is the character and they definitely, which I'll give them like props for that they didn't try and make 4 very large personalities in a small car on a road trip. That would have been like a headache. That would have been like Deo headache, like just shouting and whatnot. But I think almost because of that, I found Michael so annoying. And I don't know if it was just how John Travolta played him, but I was just like, oh, come on. Oh,
yeah.
Again. Ugh.
I found him very obnoxious and annoying. Like, he was trying to deliberately be, like, fascinating and like, oh, the human world is so... Wow. I was like, oh.
I could have seen it as a more straight role and played it as this tragic, like, make it a serious movie where they are doing this road trip and it's not him being, like, this silly sex pot along the way. I think that might have worked for me.
Jude Law would have been a good Michael.
No, I don't agree with that.
I don't know about that.
No, who would you cast?
I'm trying to think of who else was big at that time that might have...
I mean, almost like a Meet Joe Black, like Brad Pitt sort of character. That's kind of how I see it. If you're going for like the straight-laced version, he's like kind of like a biblical figure, I suppose, that falls in love, I suppose, with like a human. But he plays it very like straight-laced.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Danielle? Who would suit that role?
I don't know. I think I'm agreeing with Nat about the sort of Meet Joe Black angle. Somebody that could do that sort of gravitas, and then like not
Jude
having.
Law.
But I think if we're talking about this movie at this time, Jude Law would have been too young and hot of an actor to be in this role. I think we need somebody with a little bit older and more gravitas in what I'm picturing for this.
The one thing I would say that lets it down for me is the ending. So once Michael's dead, they go into the bit with Bob Hoskins, and then it's like, no, she's not going to take the dog off of them.
Drags a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that scene where William Hurt is chasing Michael through the streets of Chicago or wherever he is, and it eventually it leads him back to Andie MacDowell, and then they get back together and they walk off into the sunset sort of thing.
Well,
but that whole segment...
they freeze frame into the sunset.
Wait. Before we get to that, there's this weird bit where Frank has lost his job, and now he's like hanging at a bar with Huey after the fact. And he goes into this bit about him having a vision of him leaving the bar and stopping on the street and hearing like a tire get blown out, and then it's going to be the woman that the woman of his dreams or whatever. So they show us that. They show us that whole scene, and then he lives it again as the car.
Yeah,
and
and then it's like just two guys that get out of a car instead.
And then the chase scene was quite long, and you're like, has Michael come back? Is he imagining this?
No, to me, even watching it this time, I was like, oh, this bit, it just needed to be fair, like, once they'd had the confrontation with Bob Hoskins, and they'd all said, like, well, we're not working for you, you're not getting the dog, blah, blah, blah. It should have just been, like, he could have forgiven Andy McDowell when they got downstairs then. It shouldn't have been, like, a whole extra scene of, like, you could have just tied that up. It didn't need to be, like, its own thing.
But my other issue with the ending part, too, is that presumably they have met for the first time before they go on this trip to find the angel. How long do we think this road trip takes? A couple days, maybe? 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, like week tops.
Yeah, they know each other week tops. And then he finds her again after they have had this blow up, and, like, he's like, he doesn't say it, but they're not going to see each other again. And he's found her again. Mm-hmm. Great. I can accept that. They've realized do you immediately demand this woman marry you? This woman who has had 3 failed marriages.
Yeah, I don't like that either. They don't need to get married.
No.
Yeah. Just marry me.
Let's go
Dorothy,
on a date.
Marry me. Marry me, Dorothy.
It's so insistent. And then that's, like, presumably the happy ending. And then, like you said, it does this weird freeze frame, and then Michael and Pansy, the old woman from the beginning, show up again. And then they do this very long dance over the freeze frame.
It's such a long freeze. It's such a long sequence. I was like, in my head, I was like, I wonder how they actually did that. But it's probably like some.
I mean, they didn't do it particularly well. I don't know if it was just the YouTube version I was watching, but it looks very blurry.
Yeah. But they're dancing. He proper grabs her and he's thrown around the room. I was like,
yeah, I don't believe that was the actress that did the old lady. I feel like that was probably some sort of stunt double at the time, just like throwing around the dance floor.
Well, that also made me wonder, do Michael and Pansy do they have like a physical relationship in the beginning?
I did wonder that. He's upstairs in her bedroom when they first turn up.
In his boxers. But it made me wonder at the end, like, so did they come back down just to, like, finalize this relationship? Why is the old woman there?
Well, I don't know why Pansy's there. Yeah.
I thought he couldn't come back down to Earth again. I thought that was the whole point of the film.
Also, how comes nobody was like, that man just turned into a load of feathers? Like, I'm sure that outside the Sears Tower is pretty busy at all times of the day.
Well, I will say, having lived in a couple bigger cities, people tend to, like, mind their own business and
Are you minding your own business while there's a man on the floor with 3 people standing around him and then he explodes into feathers?
No, because they're just explaining the towers. They're like, oh, it must be a guided tour. It's a guided tour.
A guided tour. They're holding up a brolly.
Well, they all sort of like huddle over him too, so he kind of disappears from underneath them. So it's not like he's standing there and poof.
So I think that's pretty much all we've got to say about Michael, really.
Did you come out of watching this still loving it?
Yeah, I did actually. I wouldn't say I love it, but I would say I like it very much.
You had like an epiphany, didn't you? You kind of said to us in the chat, going like,
yeah, I like character-driven, movies.
Just character-driven, yeah.
You don't really know what their motivations are. They're not like a typical character. They've got like flaws and they've got like redeemable qualities. Yeah, there's something about those sorts of characters that really like I'm interested in. I hate just like a bog standard, the trajectory of this character's like story arc. But I feel like with these ones, they're a bit more like out there. You can't really predict where it's going to go.
Also, it's not like a big plot-driven film, like,
No.
I think a lot of the big budget, a lot of the very popular movies nowadays are all driven by these grand spectacles and things. And so, yeah, like a quiet little movie just about the character development, I also agree is nice. Did I need the John Travolta angel to be thrown into that mix? I don't know. For me, at least.
So we'll go on to our favourite and worst characters. Who wants to go first?
I have mine written down. I can go first.
Okay.
My favorite character was Vartan Malt, Bob Hoskins, the editor of the tabloid. Just thought maybe I just like Bob Hoskins. I haven't watched something with him in a while. He was a lot of fun for just being, quirky and weird for a few moments in the film. My least favorite was Michael, and just the characterization of Michael. But I would say if I had a backup, I would say I also didn't see the point of Huey, and I thought that was a missed opportunity to develop another good character.
How about you, Dave?
Didn't like Michael. Thought he was a bit. I think different actor could have played it a bit differently. And I would say my favourite character has to be probably the dog.
Dog was
Sparky, the dog.
Yeah.
Dog is good.
Sparky. I go with Sparky.
The dog was very good, actually, as dogs go. Like this and Fluke.
Natalie, how about you?
My favourite was the William Hurt character, Quinlan. I just felt like, obviously, he was kind of like the character that kind of held it all together. He wasn't overly, like, comedic or anything. He like I said before, he's just like an average Joe person. And sometimes that's just quite comforting to watch somebody just be a normal person and you're not aware of them acting or being perceived in a certain way. They're just a regular guy.
I think that says a lot to William Hurt was a really great actor. I think he did a lot of these kind of roles where it was just an everyman and there was nothing really flashy about it. If we want to watch more William Hurt, I would be up for that.
Like, I always feel like he's a really understated actor, like, but every time I watch him, I come away being like, oh, he was really good in that. Like, I think he is one of my, like, favourite actors, probably. Like, but not in, like, a way that I remember it all the time sort of way. Yeah. But when I see him in something, I'm like, I always forget how good he is.
Him and Bill Nighy. Is that Bill Nighy?
Bill Nighy. He's really good as well. My worst was also Michael, for exactly the same reasons that everybody said. Like, it might be a movie about him, but he's definitely not my favourite character in it. He's just a bit over the top. He does all the things that what you would think, like the smoking and drinking and debauchery. So, yeah, he's not my favourite.
I saw a bit of trivia where there have been like talks for years about a sequel to it, and like John Travolta is like so proud of his performance in this and would want to do a sequel kind of thing.
But unfortunately, Jude Law has taken the place.
I think you need to get down and write your own Michael fan fiction.
Yeah, maybe.
2026.
Starring Jude Law as Napkin Face.
Napkin Face as Michael.
Right, so what was everybody's favourite scene?
The dog getting run over.
No. Oh. I was so angry at that.
That made me laugh. I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear the viewpoints on this one.
Call the SPCA. Don't let that man get a pet. I think my favorite was Andie MacDowell singing, not the Pie song. Whenever she actually, so she's been writing little bits of this country song that she they're like on the side of the road, and she makes up like a little rhyme about that, and then she gets up on the stage because like Michael commands her to sing it, and she just sings this like pleasant little song. I think it might have been the opening song, but that Randy Newman sang, but then sung by her, and it was a lot more pleasing to her sing it than Randy Newman sing it.
Yeah.
And the song itself, I thought that could have been one of the songs that the main character from Lake listens to as they drive their little postal van around.
Yeah, that was very much the same, genre of music.
How about you, Nat?
Yeah. I had two that were topped for my favourite, which was, one of them was taking Michael to see the Sears Tower. I like that scene where they're explaining all the, facts about the tower as he's dying, and he's just, really happy. But my second one was, her singing, sitting on the side of the road in the diner. I found myself when I was watching it, I realised I was, smiling, a really big smile when she was singing it, because I was just it was a cute little song. It's one that obviously throughout the movie you've heard little pieces of, and then to hear it all together as an actual track. Yeah, it was good. I like how it all came together.
Yeah, this movie reminded me of how good Andie MacDowell was at that time. She was sort of a go-to leading lady for a comedy, a light comedy.
So what are everybody's scores? We'll start with Dave. We know it's going to be low.
Definitely. It's the Bowels of Hell low. I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah.
It's on the same par as... No, I enjoyed The Cell more than this film.
Can you give that one 1 as well?
I did.
He's given everything 1. He gives all of my movies 1, I've realised.
No.
He gives everything 1 and then he gives his own 5.
Yeah.
Well, I am the genius here.
No, the except.
Have you got a bachelor's honours in film and television production?
No, I just have a PhD.
Hear me out. I feel like, no, with your films now, when we're not doing Hear Me Out, the films you have picked I've enjoyed and I've watched and I thought they're really good. But I just don't think the dog film and the angel film really were my cup of tea.
Well, maybe if you used to stay awake, maybe you should be having a cup of coffee instead to stay awake in them.
You know, talking about, I think I had one score going into it. I'm going to bump it up a little bit because some of the points that you brought, Natalie, I think I do appreciate it from it. Nice. So I'll give it a 2.5. I think I did. In talking about it, I think I really appreciated like the little road trip aspect of it. Overall, it was not my favorite film. How about you?
That's fine. I gave it a 4. As I said, I like it a lot, but I wouldn't say I love it, so I can't give it a 5. But it's a film I probably won't watch it again for a good few years, but it's one of those ones that like maybe every like 10 years or so I'll go back to. And I'll be like, oh, I still don't like Michael, but I like everyone else.
You know what though? Watch it. I say set a timer and watch it when you're like 50 or so, and like see if you're like, you know, it'll be like the Ann Carroll metric for you, and you'll say, oh, do I Maybe. Now find John Travolta as Michael sexy? I like don't think I've ever
found him that attractive. Even in like Grease, like everyone raves over him. That I've never really, or like the only thing I probably liked him in was like Look Who's Talking Now with the dogs. He's like a pilot in that, I think. But yeah, that's the only one that I would really say like, oh, I really like John Travolta in that.
I liked him in Pulp Fiction, but I wouldn't say in a sexy way by any means.
No. So anyway, that is Michael. I hope everybody enjoyed listening to our musings on the movie. And we shall see you again next week for the final episode of our Hear Me Out.
We could say that you're going to be slamming it to the left or even shaking it to the right.
Oh, yeah, having a good time.
Could say, but I'm probably not going to say that.
Cedar. Hold tight.
And if you know what movie we're referencing there, then let us know in the comments and we'll tell you if you get it right. It's a bye from me.
It's a bye from me.
Bye.